ConVAlsation. Today is episode 9. So I've been doing this for 9 weeks now. Today we're really glad to have on board Kevin and Natasha with us today from Wolfpack Martial Arts. And I wanted to get to know them better as, I think, coach and athlete, but also as husband and wife. So I thought that was a very interesting dynamic because for myself and Joel, we are also working together. We are also husband and wife, but we cannot be coach and athlete. I think that's something, the dynamics that we can't possibly do. So maybe what you guys can do is introduce yourself to us first before we get on to the interview questions. Yeah. Any one of you can go first.
Yeah. So hi guys, I'm Natasha. I'm 29 years old. We live in Edinburgh in Scotland. I'm WOYO world champion in points and light contact.
My name's Kevin Baldwin. I am the husband of Natasha Baldwin. That's my biggest accolade. I'm the head coach for Wolfpack Martial Arts, where we teach from 3.5 years of age all the way up through adults. And yeah, that's our main job and primary focus is teaching kickboxing. And obviously we make yourself during the lockdown period. And this is how this has all begun, really.
Yeah. Okay, so a question to both of you is that how did you get started with kickboxing or martial arts?
So for me, I followed my best friend at the time when I was 7 or 8 years old. So she was my best friend at school, and I was supposed to go around to her house after school and play. But she had her kickboxing club on at the time. So she basically asked my mum and dad if I could go around and watch or just do it with her, just for something to do after school. And I did, loved it, and just didn't stop, to be honest. I think a few years later, she actually stopped and I just continued on. That was in the Kung Fu. So I started first in Kung Fu when I was 7 or 8. And then when I sort of turned maybe 9 or 10, I started in the kickboxing as well. But I definitely got the foundation in Kung Fu first for a good few years and then switched over. But yeah, I literally just followed a friend it was literally in a church. It wasn't even in a proper club. It was in a church. They rented a couple of nights a week and then put mats down, but we were still in our shoes on wooden floors and stuff. But yeah, just followed her along and loved it ever since, really.
Kevin?
So I came to kickboxing quite late. I was 17, so did various sports and theatre and stuff like that growing up as a kid. And then from there, I went to a class with an ex-girlfriend, and it was just to try something new. And I took to it really quickly, and was actually offered the opportunity to try and do it full time as a job a month after. I had various teaching experience. So yeah, a year in, I was doing it full time and teaching, recruiting for the company. And yeah, never really looked back. Got the chance to compete almost, I think I competed 8 weeks after trying my first class, just to see what a competition was like, and got the bug from there. So yeah.
So can you remember how long both of you have done kickboxing for now, offhand?
I think my number is really bad. I'm 21 years, I think.
Actually,
yeah.
I'm 16, 17. Yeah, I'm a baby. She's the big grandmaster over here, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I came on board really late. I only started doing kickboxing when I was 23.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I think 22 or 23. So I'm 30 this year. So I guess, yeah, I'm the real baby because
that makes me feel a little bit better. It makes me feel like I have loads of experience now.
Doesn't it make me feel
yeah,
old?
Tasha's just old.
Okay, one of the next question that I wanted to ask was, I actually watched how both of you interacted as coach and athlete during your competition fights. So I wanted to ask Kevin was that, what's your state of mind when Natasha competes? Because I've watched a few competition videos and you were at the side of the competition floor, but you seem very calm and composed. So yeah, so I wanted to ask, what's your state of mind when she competes?
Yeah, it's a common question. And it's the biggest thing people get wrong. People always think that I'm going to be most stressed when my wife fights because it's the person I care about the most. It's the complete opposite. And the reason I say that is because out of all of my team is extensive. My team are very talented individuals in their own right, not just because of Natasha. We have a fantastic team, truly. And firstly, that comes from the example that she sets. But when Natasha when I get to see Natasha prepare for a tournament, I get to see her prepare in more detail than anybody else. And there's nothing more reassuring than when Natasha goes up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning and she does that 7-mile run or whatever she's doing in the morning. For me as a coach and a husband, I see that box ticked. So when I go to a competition, I know everything she's done more than anybody else. All I can feel is confidence. There's been times in fights and stuff, of course, where as a coach and me as a person, you get a little bit more on edge because, you know, with what we do on the WOYO circuit, the level of competition is extremely high. But as a general rule, like you said there, I'm super calm, and that comes down to the reassurance that I'm given by Natasha in her preparation.
And for Natasha, like when you compete, do you worry about like, oh no, I'm worried that, you know, Kevin thinks that I'm going to get hurt? Or there's this mutual understanding when you compete, you wear that different hat?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think even as soon as like we go into like the competition hall, like we're not really like husband and wife anymore, like at all. We're now like competitor and coach, or like coach, like for obviously like the start of the day when we're coaching all the other guys. But no, like not at all. Like I don't even like think about my health or anything when I'm doing my fight. Like I know everyone in my category. I know like what I have to do against certain people because I've, you know, you've been around for so long. You know who's in your category and stuff. And yeah, I think it's more like just knowing my own fight. Like I don't actually worry about Kev. Like Kev to me on the day is more like a comfort blanket. Like even when we're traveling, like I always like, you know, some people when they're doing their competitions, they need to be like left alone or they need to go through like a certain routine. Like for me and Kev, it's more like I need to check in with Kev every so often, like just keep dialogue. It could be chatting about anything. Like it could be talking about when Effie last ate or like fighters, you know, like fighting on the other mat over there, like just general conversation just throughout the day. And then when we get onto the mat, like it's just business really. It's nothing else other than that.
So I guess both of you actually managed to strike a good balance between both types of relationships, I guess. Like coach and athlete and then husband and wife.
Yeah, like I think it's the different hats. Like when we're at a competition, if someone was to walk in from the tournament, like who's never done kickboxing before or didn't know any dynamic, they wouldn't even know that we were dating, let alone married. At a competition, we've got a job to do. Natasha's like, again, she has to play coach because of our sport and the setup and probably the trust issues that we have as coaches. We like to be very hands-on. So from my point of view, Natasha has to play the role as a coach for the first half of the day sometimes before she gets to fight herself. And there's no other focus there. You know, like I said, this isn't just a Kevin and Natasha show. It's very much like we take sometimes over 20 athletes to a tournament. There's no time to do anything else apart from focus on what's in front of us.
I think also as well, like it's kind of changed a little bit since obviously Effie was born, because to start off with, like the first part of the day is like coaching and like being a mum, and then like, you know, half an hour before my category I've got like a huge like really good support network around me in the team, and they'll like take her off and make sure I can focus on my warm-up and stuff, and then I'll kind of switch on from there. So sometimes I don't even really get the chance to like be husband and wife or like
no, it sounds terrible, but it's kind of like on tournament day, it's very much the bottom of our priorities. The rest of it comes first, like performance, the team, our daughter, networking. You could probably argue marketing and business from our side of things. Like it's definitely worked for us, almost, especially when we're at a tournament, for sure.
Okay, so the next question that I wanted to ask was that I know both of you coach at Wolfpack. So the question to both of you is, who's more popular as an instructor at Wolfpack Martial Arts? #popularity poll, I put there.
#popular.
That is brutal.
I love it. I think I'm more popular.
I feel like it would be Kev as well.
But Natasha is...
I feel like I'm more harsh.
She's harsh. Yeah. So like, I think it's, you know what, it's popularity is a very loose word, but I'll let you get away with that one. But for example, the team dynamic. When Natasha walks into a room, she's one of these characters. When she walks into a room, you know she's there. And I think every fighter, aspiring fighter, be it a child or an adult, when you see someone who's achieved what she has, you have a tendency to put a defense up in a bit of a wall. And the dynamic works well because I have to come in, and as a coach, I need to be able to be trusted and fully be able to work with someone. I need to be able to feel comfortable with me. So I think that's where our dynamic works really well as well. And it's almost like if Kevin says you've done well, people are happy. But if Natasha says you've done well, they're ecstatic. Because again, this is the other dynamic that we're talking about here. When Natasha's in the training session, 99% of the training session, she's part of the team and not the coach, if that makes sense.
Yes.
She becomes a peer. So they want the approval from the top person who they're training next to. Like Natasha doesn't have a dimmer switch. It's on or off. So when she's training, it's very much on, and they're rubbing shoulders with her. So I think it's very hard. Natasha has a very hard job because people warm to me naturally, and they have to spar with her at some stage, or they have to, they're in competition with her, or they feel like they've got to do what Natasha does, and they're very, very hard shoes and steps to follow. But in our own right, like, I think we've both got different, it's the dynamic again, like our team would chill with any of us, and Natasha's usually got the added bonus of the baby with her. So that's extra bonus points in the popularity contest straight away. So it's a funny question, but I think they probably know they're going to get more love from me, but they also know that if they're critical and they want to be great at the sport, if they're getting positive feedback from Natasha, it's definitely a case of I'm going in the right direction, and some people really want that, and some people really deserve that within session by session or tournament by tournament.
I think that's like in class as well. And I think like if you're just talking about like on the mat competition when you're fighting, I think some fighters respond to different like approaches with coaches. Like some fighters need to like be told they're doing well and like a lot of support, where like other fighters need to be like, no, wake up, like step up again, sort of thing. I think sometimes that's why we have,
like if you look how I coach Natasha in comparison to how I coach fighter A, fighter B, there isn't a blanket response. And I think if we didn't have the relationship we have in the club, and we just had that one answer for all, we wouldn't have the success we're having right now.
Yeah, like even when we're like coaching like the same fighter, it depends like who's there, like who's going to actually be the primary coach, and then who's just going to feed to the other person.
For example, if there's like a kid who's really enjoyed the feedback from Natasha in training, I won't say anything. I will just sit at the chair and I will manage the situation. I will make sure the scoreboard's correct. I will look at the referees, making sure they're doing a really good job. And then I will let Natasha be vocal, because if that person's ears have pricked up a bit in class because, Natasha says something good, then we're going to use that to filter the information through. So we're quite attuned. It's not something we talk about. It just we sit there. We can kind of feed it off and work it out in the first 10 seconds.
So this would be the next question that I wanted to ask, would be relating to, I think, maybe a lot of people would have known that, but in terms of like how your relationship has good chemistry between professional and personal life, right? So the question that I wanted to ask was, we will go back to the basics, meaning how did both of you meet? And I wanted to know like who made the first move?
Who do you think made the first move?
Okay, wait. I don't want to answer that, but I will share with my experience. I made the first move on Joel. I know what I wanted, and I am very firm on it. I was so sure that it caught him off guard, and he was very scared. So that's my story lah.
I love it. Yeah, well done. So Natasha was down south training with us as a club.
I think we were WK, weren't we?
Yeah, well, no, we weren't there. We were just there as GBMA.
So, like, the Scotland team, I was part of the WKA Scotland team at the time. And, like, my head coach at the time, Robert Smith, knew yours, Nick, first page. So they kind of just, like, sort of came together as friends and brought teams together so we could support each other. So the Scotland team went down and trained with you guys in England, didn't we?
Yeah, we trained. I was still, like, kind of, like, coming through the ranks, and just, it was a sparring session, wasn't it? I remember leaving the sparring session, and I said goodbye to Natasha, and she completely ignored me.
I didn't know he was talking to me.
She thought I was talking to someone else, apparently. This is a massive arguing point, by the way, so you've brought up something you probably shouldn't have. I remember walking out the door like, bye, and this girl just didn't even look up at me, and I was like, wow, okay. And then luckily the guy sitting next to her, who I also knew, was like, oh, bye, Kevin. I was like, oh yeah, bye. Like I was actually talking to him when I wasn't. And then the following day, there was a competition that we were hosting as a club called the Bisma at Guildford Spectrum. And I managed to, I was on the door, like helping with the tickets and the administration. And I said she couldn't come in until she gave me a phone number. So,
Whoa.
I know, yeah, bold. And I eventually got her phone number, and the rest was kind of history from there.
So the phone number was the person that made the first move then? That means Natasha made the first move?
I asked for it.
Yeah, you had it.
Oh, you asked for it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought
She was like, no. I was literally standing at the door saying, she was like, can I come in, please? I was like, you can't come in until you give me your phone number. So,
My
yeah.
dad was standing next to me as well. My dad was there at the time. So I was like, okay.
Bold. Yeah.
Okay. The next question actually is from Natasha. We're actually starting to have questions from the audience, so I'll start asking them shortly. So Natasha, I wanted to ask you is that as a full-time athlete and also as a coach, how or when did you figure it was the right time for motherhood? Because I think definitely as a full-time athlete, it's because you compete so much, you train so much, and I mean, we all know it takes about 9 to 10 months to birth, a child. So how did that like come about for you?
It wasn't something that was like a certain like sort of decision in our life. Like I think, like you said, like I don't think there's ever a time where anyone actually does feel 100% ready. I don't think you ever do. And I think like at that time I was going through a phase where I just won the WOYO World twice in 2015, and then we did the pro sort of just after that, and I was thinking about like leaving kickboxing for a bit. I was toying with MMA and stuff, and I went down to London Shoot Fires. I did 3 weeks with them, really enjoyed it. Like came back up north, and it wasn't really
high level.
Yeah, I was training with high level up here for a bit as well. Absolutely loved it. Like great gym, recommend it to everyone. But just couldn't really like get the logistics right with like teaching and training, because they didn't quite have like training stuff like during the day, and obviously I was teaching at Wolfpack at night, so I couldn't really kind of figure everything out.
It's kind of change in discipline that made it hard. Like when you're staying in your own discipline and training within your discipline that you coach, you can kind of cater for yourself. But when Natasha started looking into MMA, there was no way I was ever going to coach her. I'm a big believer that if you're going to specialize in something, you go to the best person that you know, and that definitely wasn't me at the time, and never will be. I'm a good kickboxing coach. So when we found high level up here, I spoke to James Doolan, and then obviously with Curtis Page being my instructor, his son's Michael Page, who's doing fantastically with Bellator. These guys for me were the best people to speak to, but trying to make the business coaching work while Natasha changed discipline was becoming a real strain. So we never really got, I believe she would have had a great time in MMA, and it would have been great to see.
I really enjoyed
who knows what the future holds, like stranger things have happened, but at the time it was too much to balance. So
yeah, so we kind of I was still training kickboxing like at the time, like still kicking over, still training with the team anyway. So we kind of, I think we randomly decided we'd do the Irish Open. It was like a couple of weeks before Irish Open.
2 weeks before the Irish Open.
And Kevin was like, do you want to compete? I was like, sure, why not? Because it's my favorite competition in the world, and I was still taking over anyway. I didn't really feel any pressure. I didn't have a massive training camp. I was going in like a weight above, I think a couple of weights above, because I hadn't been like obviously prepping for it, and I was like, yeah, why not? We'll just do it, we'll have fun. Ended up winning it that year actually. And then the team was going to the Austrian Classics the month after in April, and I wasn't really thinking about fighting, and then I got a message from Jack Felton from America saying, will you do a team event with us? So we did the team event. It was like, who was it? Me, Jack, Dean Barry, Robert McMenemy, and Mark McDermott at the time. Won the team event, really good event, enjoyed it. And then that was kind of my last competition for
Yeah.
her.
That was it.
We literally, I think we found out in the June after that. And we were kind of like loosely trying, really nothing like
we
set
weren't.
in stone.
It wasn't nothing set in stone, but we kind of had it in our mind that it was maybe time to have the family. But from a timing point of view, it was nothing overly planned. It was more a case of like, I think as an athlete, you kind of touched on it in the original question. It's a case of you've got to feel like you kind of hit some of your goals and your major goals.
Massive.
So there's no regret. And if you're going to go into any big life-changing decision with regret, that would have been a problem. But after the WACO Worlds
and then the pro,
and then the WACO Pro, it was kind of like there would be no regrets if we stopped. If stopped competing. So it was kind of like the most relaxed time we had together. So yeah, it was nothing overly planned, was it?
No.
So my next question would then be for Kevin, because I wanted to know, how do you find out that Natasha was expecting?
God, I can't even remember.
I just tested like loads, wasn't I?
Yeah, like I think like obviously it was a typical type of like, I'd wake up in the morning and Tash would be like, oh, I feel like I've been training loads and starting to like, her body was starting to ache a little bit. And I was like, all right. And then, I see these pregnancy tests start coming into the house on a regular basis. And I'm like, what's up? So it's kind of like, I had an inkling, I'm not stupid. I think it was just a case of like, we eventually got a doctor's appointment, and they referred us to like a clinic, and they basically told us pretty much there and then it was on screen within 10 minutes. We're seeing a heartbeat on a monitor, so it moved relatively fast from there. But it's a difficult one for sure. Like it's definitely a bit of a life changer. So.
Well, I'll just read. There were like 2 comments about when I was asking you on coaching. So a comment from Craig Appleton was saying, I personally had Kevin coach me once before. Best coach I have ever had on my side. He knows what to say when the fighter is lost in the fight.
Craig's not. Yeah, I haven't seen Craig for years. Craig's a really good guy and had loads of potential as well. Like, it's someone that I would love to have worked with more. And yeah, like some people, like I've got quite a clear voice. I think people can kind of hear me from 15 mats away, so that's definitely a plus point. But you know what Craig's saying there is great. But the biggest point is that with Craig, especially, he was very willing to be coached. And that's important. If you're going to, as a coach and a fighter, if I spend the first 2 minutes of our relationship trying to convince you that what I'm saying is the right thing for you, you've probably lost by then. If you can get an open-minded athlete who's got great foundation, which is exactly what he did and many others we've worked with, then the sky's your limit.
True. Another comment from Christine Samways was saying that I think he's talking about I think she's talking about both of your relationships. She said Kevin knew a good thing when he seen it. LOL. Hi.
I think she's referring to the fact that I saw Natasha and that was a great idea. So yes, Christine's one of the mums we've coached their daughter Amber quite a lot. Amber's from down south, and we coached her a lot during the season a few years back. And she's one of the families that we're crazy lucky in the fact that a lot of people commit to us and they're miles away. Like Amber was doing a lot of her training with us and she was living in Birmingham. I'm not sure what your geography is like, but Birmingham's it's a different country. So Birmingham was like middle of England and she was flying up and getting the train to Scotland regularly to train with us. Yeah, so and we've got people now in the squad, like the guys from Inverness. How many interviews there? I don't want to get the names wrong. So we've got Kieran and Aidan.
Effie?
We've got young Effie. That's not our daughter. There's actually another Effie. Never thought that would happen, by the way. They're the main guys from up north. Yeah, so they're like 3 hours. I don't want to get that time wrong either.
They'll tell us after.
Yeah, they're 3 hours to travel to train with us. They do 2 hours training and then travel 3 hours back home again. So they travel 6 hour round trip every single Saturday.
Wow, that's a big commitment to make.
I always joke that they're much better parents than me because I don't think I would ever do that. So, my daughter will have to find something she really loves and then convince me for many years before I do that. But yeah, we've got some really cool parent role models in our club, so that's some examples. And Christine's another one. She's always supported Amber to travel all the way up here. So yeah,
even when Amber stops, she still comes to competition and supports.
Yeah. Christine's one of the parents that comes in, takes photos, sends them, never charges the photos, and always supports everything, you know. And it's been real, like, from the outside, always thinks about our daughter. We're really lucky. We've got great friends in the community.
One of the other questions that I think someone was asking also was, I think both of you can answer that, is what is the best fight you've ever seen?
As in, not us, outside of us, or Natasha?
Yes, outside.
Yeah. I was asked this question recently on, where was I asked this? It was another podcast actually. I did, and someone asked me this question. My instinct went straight to Bev Sturzica versus Luisa Galotti from Italy. It was in Bristol. It's on YouTube. It was filmed by Danny Slevin, Bram Mandan, and it was two of the female fighters, and they were going point for point, and it was a crazy fight. Like, it's hard to put into words.
Hang on, what was it? Like, Louisa was losing with like a couple of seconds to go.
No. So Bev kicked her in the head.
Who got the hook kick?
Louisa, yeah, but Bev kicked her in the head and nearly put her out cold. Remember, she was in a bad way.
That's true, yeah.
She was like, probably shouldn't have continued. I don't even know if she knew what day it was. And
in the last second.
There was 2 seconds left, maybe.
Yeah.
And the referee lets the fight continue. The referee says fight. Louisa ducks under and like hook kicks Bev in the head, brings it back to a draw. Everyone goes crazy. And then there was like extra time, and I think Bev went on to win it. But those two for me are two of the most dynamic female fighters. Like, people always think that you shouldn't have too much respect for female fight. For us, once you get to a level, the top girls love each other. It's the girls that are coming down, or without being too controversial on a live podcast, who feel like they deserve everything, are usually the ones that have the biggest problem. And like, for us, Bev and Louisa are probably two of the nicest people we know. So yeah, love them to pieces. What about your fight? Who's yours?
I don't know, like, that's definitely got to be up there, especially like female wise. I'm trying to think of like a male equivalent that kind of goes back and forward. There's so many.
Come on, don't top out.
I know.
Come on.
It's got to be something at the Irish Open. It's got to be like an Irish
answer.
Open. Yeah.
Give him a proper answer, Tasha.
Right, Kev. It's where you see the dynamic actually work, because it's what we're really like. I'm gonna say any Irish Open weight final with Jack Felton in it.
Jack Felton, yeah.
Like, literally.
That's fair. I wouldn't accept that answer normally. But for me, Jack's one of the most biggest pioneers in the sport right now. He's been around for years and still gets into Irish Open finals like they're just a local tournament.
Standard, isn't it?
And he was also, which is interesting during this podcast, he was one of the first people to reach out to us and help the community during lockdown. He said to me, I was chatting away to him, he was like, how's things going, Kev? And I was like, yeah, it's not bad, it's tough times. And I was like, I could do with a message from you to send to my guys. He's like, yeah, no bother. He literally went down to his club, put a Wolfpack t-shirt on that he had from a previous seminar that he taught. Actually, not only said, best of luck, guys, and I hope everything goes down well lockdown, but filmed 2 or 3 drills for us to send to our private community of members, and actually helped us out teach in the first week of lockdown. He was the first one to respond, and I think for me, that goodwill was one of the reasons why we started our open Zoom sessions. So really, really genuinely nice person. Great fighter.
Such a good fighter, isn't he? He's so humble.
But he's so humble, honestly. If you haven't met him, he's the most relaxed individual ever, and very dangerous. His psychic's disgusting.
Just like,
it will change your life,
though, isn't it? Like, utter basics. Nothing flashy, but like always gets the job done.
Solid. Yeah.
My other question, actually, this is not relating to like the fighting or like the kickboxing scene. Was actually, I wanted to ask Natasha, was how fast did you bounce back into training after you had Effie, and was it difficult for you not being as active after giving birth?
So, funny funny story.
It would have been if she didn't, but yeah, go on.
So I was really lucky. I had a really healthy pregnancy. I didn't have morning sickness or anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really, like, touch wood, really, really lucky. I managed to train all the way through. So I was still running for a good bit. Obviously, as I was getting bigger, running for trying to walk and stuff. But I think we in the gym doing like an uphill walk on the treadmill and doing a couple of squats and stuff. So really, really healthy, really lucky to stay so active. And I think that was like such a huge part in why I was able to bounce back so quickly afterwards, the fact that I was able to train through. So yeah, I was really active. Effie was born. The first 2 weeks I think was like the most kind of struggle. Obviously it was like a big shock to the system, didn't know what I was doing, thought I was going to break her. And obviously like Kev obviously had to go back because we're self-employed, so he had to go back after a week or so. And also Effie was born like exactly 2 weeks before the British Championships. So all of our guys and Kev obviously had to go down to the British Championships. So I was kind of like on my own. My sister came through to help me, but it was kind of like a situation.
That was horrible.
So that happened. And then obviously Kev got back into training and I was kind of like at home. And it was more like just like quite lonely, being out of routine. And I'm kind of like one of these weird people that like if I don't train or if I don't do my normal training, like I get really grumpy, really just like blah, like not really feeling it sort of thing. And then obviously like when I was pregnant, I was still able to tick those boxes, and then all of a sudden those boxes were kind of like taken away sort of thing. So the first like 2 or 3 weeks I thought was really quite hard. But then kind of from there I was just kind of like taking her into the club, like getting like the guys wanted to meet her and stuff. So when obviously she was like really, really small, she slept like 80-90% of the time. So I'd just take her to the club. She'd be on the mats, like sleeping in the corner, and I could kind of just get back into it nice and slowly. Obviously nothing crazy for the first sort of 6 weeks or so, month.
Yeah, like
obviously no sparring.
No
or anything
sparring,
like that.
but I think it took 4 weeks for Natasha to decide that she was going to be fighting very, very soon.
I kind of turned around to Kevin one morning and I was like, I need a goal. Like my whole life, I've went from competition to competition. I've had fight camps. I've always had a goal in mind. And like to date, I've been really lucky and I've managed to tick every box. And I need another goal to drop all this baby weight. So Kev was like, well, why don't we, we'll put a fight night on and we'll set a date. It was like 5 months after Effie was born, and we'll do it at your original fight weight. Now, usually I fight full contact at 60 kilos and I fight points in light contact at 65 kilos. But we were like, let's take a breath. We'll do full contact, but we'll do it at 65 instead of 60.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, why not, crack on sort of thing. And then it kind of transpired that we had a German club reach out to us and say, we've got a fighter willing to fight Natasha. And there was another boy as well that wanted to come over and fight Adam Locke, one of our guys, on a fight night. Like, would you consider us? And we were like, yeah, like, why not? Because we've always kind of found it quite hard to find full contact opponents for me in general. So as soon as they were like, yeah, we're up for it, we're like, yeah, why not? So the date was set 5 months after Effie was born. Yeah. So from then on, I had a goal. I knew I wasn't going to jump back into sparring straight away because I still wanted to obviously listen to my body. It was first time, first child. So it was kind of just like, it was weird in a way because we had to kind of sit down and like make a fight camp like we normally do. But we kind of, when I sort of start something, I usually just hit it full go. I'm everything in it. Like I'll do my run straight away. I won't miss a session.
Definitely more tactical.
Whereas like, if Effie wasn't sleeping, I couldn't train as much, or like I'd get to the club and she wouldn't be, I was breastfeeding the whole way through. So sometimes I'd get up in the morning and like she'd been already awake for 5 hours. I'm like, if I can't run right now, I'm gonna have to run later, or I'll have to run. And I'd have to be a lot more flexible than I was in the past. So previously I'd have I'd like type it all out and I'd hit everything. Whereas with Effie, I kind of have to write it out in pencil and then maybe rub it out and change the times or change the days. And to start off with, it was a struggle because I'm not like that at all. I'm really, really organized. And if I say I'm going to do it, I'll do it. But I think that kind of changed me as a person.
I think in the long run, so Natasha went to win the title that night. It was like close to 16 weeks after giving birth, wasn't it? Or 18 weeks?
Yeah, 18 weeks.
18 weeks after giving birth. And I think she dropped, was it like 20 kilos?
It was like 20.7 kilos.
20.7 kilos
wow.
of like baby weight and, getting her body back to fighting fitness stage 1.
But it was healthy. It wasn't like
No.
I hit 65 kilos and then like 2 days later I was back up at 72. Like it wasn't, I couldn't lose it in water weight. That was another thing as well. Like normally when I'm dropping for competitions, I'll train so far and then I'll do the last couple of kilos in water. I couldn't do that because I was breastfeeding. So if I was going to drop water weight, I couldn't feed Effie. And she obviously wasn't on solids. So I had to do everything like really well properly and make sure I was hydrated the whole time. So that was another obstacle to go around, wasn't it? But it was good as well because we were educating ourselves along the way, and I felt like I learned my body and what it can and can't do even more through that process as well. So, but yeah, it was. I don't think I could have done anything without a goal. I'm always working towards a goal, and I think that's why, or that's what people have struggled in lockdown as well, because there's not been any competition goals or anything. So we kind of sit down, and that's how we've decided to work on strength a little bit more. To give myself a different goal, which isn't obviously weight related or anything like that. So, but yeah, definitely goal related, 100%.
When you were describing about the part where you used to be organized and you ticked every box, I sort of had a moment where I foresee myself when I have kids next time, and that's definitely something that I struggle with as well. I need to be organized. I want to do this, means I have to do it. So even if it's raining outside, I don't care. I must run. So I think I just saw a glimpse of my future next time with like
100%. I think that's where Kev and I are quite different as well, because like I'm very like I need to do this, and Kev's like it's fine, it'll work itself out.
Joel is like Kevin actually,
and that's why I love Joel right there.
No. I think that's how we kind of balance each other.
Yeah, that's probably, again, it comes back to the reason of the podcast, right? Like every couple has their dynamic. And like sometimes, for example, if we're teaching seminars, we're very lucky and privileged to go and teach seminars around the world. And like Natasha will want to write a 3-hour lesson plan and factor in, a 90-second water break. Like for me, I would, I'm right.
I'm not that bad. I used to be that bad.
I would rather turn up to the event, have a look at what's going on, and then go, right, this is what we're going to do. And then I'll just let the natural course of the class turn up. Whereas if Natasha hasn't got something on an iPad prior, I know we're going to get shouted at. There'll be a meltdown of some sort at me because I didn't do it.
Even that first live Zoom when we had like 100 people like coming, I was like, right, Kev, what are we teaching?
The first Zoom that you guys were on with WOYO Singapore, Tasha's like, right, we sit down, we need to do this, we need to do that. I was like, you just write down what you want and I'll fill the spaces. Like,
stresses me out.
I'm doing
No, it's exactly the same with us. So if I were to teach a class, for example, the class is at 7 p.m. By 6:15 or 6 o'clock, I start panicking because I want things done proper. I want the clients greeted properly. I want them to sit in this way, and I don't like it when things are not prepared. So sometimes we would have meetings or discussions like it's 6:45 and we're still having a discussion, and my class is at 7 p.m. So usually that like drives me crazy. Yeah, so I can't like if my
like soulmate, like you two could probably be best friends forever.
Yeah, because like if my routine is not prepared or like it's not written down, same. I don't like when things are not prepped.
Even to the point where, so like when we're trying to leave the house, like I'll be ready. I'll even have Effie ready, and we're still waiting for Kevin. Like I will have my 2-year-old child ready, and Kevin's not ready.
Same. It's the same.
I can't defend that one, but yeah.
Okay, we have a question from like the comments. They wanted to know what's Kevin and Natasha's favorite food.
Oh.
You can only pick one.
I like a roast dinner, like a traditional roast.
I kind of have apple pie and custard.
Oh, she's obsessed, right? Here's a funny story for you, right? We buy apple pie like a family size. I'm not a sweet tooth person.
Yeah.
And whatever happened, it was a lazy day. There was no plates left. They're all dirty. Like it wasn't happening. It was before Effie, yeah. Now life's a bit more, yeah. Natasha couldn't find a plate big enough for this apple pie. I'm sitting in the living room watching TV, and she walks in with a frying pan. The apple pie is inside it, and there's a whole thing of custard. And like she sat there and ate 2/3 of this out of a frying pan.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't on fight camp.
No,
I
think it was close to Christmas, which is Natasha's like time to chill out. So
Yeah.
It's my like victory meal though. Like I'll have a fight camp and I'll do the competition and I'll come back and I'll have apple pie and custard.
but she was still so efficient because she found a plate that had a handle. So like again, she found a very quick key to victory. I was kind of impressed, embarrassed all at the same time. It was a weird dynamic. But yeah. I like traditional roasting, and Natasha would take the dessert.
Sweet.
So
yeah,
together you've just got to buy 2 courses and then you've covered us both. So yeah.
Joel commented and say, yeah, I love you too, Kevin. We are so much alike. Laughing emoji.
Yeah. I can see like me and Joel haven't had much like backwards and forwards, but I just saw it from the other day. Like I got the chance when we were testing all this out to see you two, and it was just me, if you remember. And I could instantly see the dynamic between you two, and it kind of made me laugh because it kind of reminded me of like my own home life. And I was like, this is going to be an interesting podcast. I'm very much up for this. So yeah, no, Joel's been really good, and I can see what you guys have been doing from a kickboxing point of view in WOYO Singapore. And I think you guys get a lot of stuff right. You're very good at talking about it, marketing the ideas, and then on top of that, you've kind of like you're open. It's, like I said about the Craig's comment about it's easy to Kevin's one of the best coaches. Right? It's not always about the coach. If the fighter or the person in front of you isn't willing, then it doesn't matter how good the coach is. And I think you guys, and another one was WOYO India, they reached out to us. They were so open and willing to learn. They wanted as much information as possible. And as a coach, you can't ask for anything more than that.
Well, based on just what you just said, how do you manage athletes that are not open to listen, but yet they are dying to compete? Because I know we handle different types of athletes. There are athletes on the other type of spectrum that are a little bit on that scale. So how do you manage that?
I think it's a difficult one. So every athlete has a personal approach, and it's only as personal as the previous athlete. So you start kind of like building a Rolodex of personalities, and you start finding the traits. And as a coach, as you progress as a coach, you start learning to unlock certain personalities. So your job is to potentially find that from the outside, someone who seems slightly shut off, is to try and find the key to unlock that. And sometimes that's just a hard fighting coaching till they feel some success. Sometimes success is the biggest key to unlock a personality. Sometimes it's trust. So you're trying to work out, like, you could be in the gym for 3 hours and they need to do one thing and they can't do it because of a trust issue. Say, for example, you need them to attack someone who likes counter kicking, and they're like, the fear of getting hurt. But I think it's, if you can identify the traits that make them closed off, you're going to unlock it very quickly. So there's no overall answer, but it's a case of being attuned to the person in front of you. Because I've had someone like Natasha and 2 or 3 other guys in my coaching career who I've got to the point where I can almost start speaking and their actions on the mat finish my sentence. It's given me lots of observation and repetitions to try and pick these traits in other people. But it's a case of sometimes if they're not willing to be coached, like you said, or find it hard to be coached, you've got to do more. You've got to get your arm around them, and to the point where they come back. So those people who are not successful, it's usually because the coaches has given up before they have.
Just finding the why, isn't it?
Yeah, find out the why. Yeah, that's a good one.
There's another question. What's Kevin's and Natasha's most hated fruit? ? Durian, maybe? ?
Fruits.
Yeah.
I like fruit. There's nothing I don't like.
Yeah, I kind of like fruit. There's certain vegetables, but not fruit.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Have you guys tried durian before?
No.
Oh. Okay, so it's every time Singapore is very big on their tropical fruits. So things like mangosteen, lychee, rambutan. Durian is one of the things that usually when someone comes from a like faraway country. Joel wants me to show you guys a picture. Yeah, so then we will always get them to try durian because durian is something that it's a very acquired taste. Very acquired
What does
taste.
it taste like?
I mean, okay, I'm a durian lover, so I love it. So it tastes sweet, then the flesh is like pretty soft. But people who hate it, they just say it tastes like gross, like vomit.
Is it the vomit fruit?
It's not a vomit fruit. It's not a vomit fruit.
I've heard someone call a fruit a vomit fruit before. I think I've seen it, but I've never tried it.
Yeah.
You guys have Marmite in Singapore? Do you have Marmite?
Yes, we do. Yes,
See,
yes.
I love Marmite. Natasha hates Marmite. But Effie, I've been like conditioning Effie. There's these Marmite crackers. Yeah, there's these Marmite crackers, biscuits things. I'm like, I give her one a day to make sure she's on my side of the Marmite fence. So she's like on my side of that. I've got to try and get every battle I can. So I'll see if we can I'll try and find one. I don't know if we'll get it in the UK, but if we can get it in the UK, we'll report back.
Yeah, I think it's quite hard to find it though. Yeah, so apparently
someone will find it. Someone will find it. Sure.
Now, can you see it?
Yeah. I'll try and
like looking at it, I would eat it.
Yeah, so it's either love or hate at first sight.
Does Joe like it?
No. Joe doesn't like it.
I like it.
Who knows? We'll definitely try and find it, and we'll let you know.
Yeah, it's the smell of it. So for us, it's pretty normal because it's part of our culture. But I think for a lot of foreigners, it's not a common fruit. So the smell, some people say, is very smelly.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it.
Another one that it's not so common, but they call it smelly tofu. Have you eaten it before?
I'm not a tofu fan at all.
Yeah, so they use fermented like ingredients to make the tofu like really smelly. So it smells like sewage, but it tastes damn good.
No.
You're not selling it.
I'm not gonna run out and buy that. That's not happening. They should not use you for the advert. That's a bad idea.
No, but it's so good. Okay. I am gonna send both of you like the rapid fire questions. And wait, I think Joe will just have to check whether we have any other questions, but I'll run through the rapid fire questions with both of you. So what you're gonna do is that I would send both of you individually what it is. Maybe you want to decide between yourselves who wants to ask the other party the question first.
I'll ask you first.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Okay.
And I can see how bad it is, and then if it doesn't work, then we can lose. We can lose signal on the podcast by accident.
Okay, wait, hang on. Okay, so Kevin's gonna ask the question first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to send you the questions. Oh wait, hang on. Oh no, I sent the wrong one.
So don't look.
Yeah, don't look.
Oh, you deleted it already? Wow, that was quick. She sent it and then was like, no, you're not having it. Look.
Is that Facebook?
That's Instagram.
Instagram. Oh, okay. So Kevin, you're asking first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know how rapid fire question works?
Are you doing yes, no's? Or
no, they're not yes, no's.
No, tell me how you want to do it and we'll do it.
So basically, rapid fire question, how it works is that there's a set of 10 questions. You're supposed to like ask the question really fast, and the person only has 5 seconds to answer. If the person doesn't answer in 5 seconds, then you would move on to the next question. Yeah, so for those that are watching, just FYI, they don't know the questions beforehand. This is the very first time that they are seeing it.
Yeah, true story. Okay. Yeah, true story. Okay. I'm ready when you are.
All right. I will watch you.
Right. You ready, Tasha?
No.
Okay.
Go on.
Question 1. What outfit did your parents force you to wear that you hated?
Anything that matched my little sister. Usually shorts and a t-shirt.
Question 2. Do you think you would make a good food critic?
No, I'm critical of everything.
So you'd make a great food
maybe
critic.
then, yeah.
Do you prefer looking at the sunrise or the sunset?
Sunset.
Sunset. Jesus, that was too quick. Would you rather skydive, bungee jump, parasail, or hang glide? I know the answer.
I hate heights.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nothing.
What is your favourite date of ours?
Like a date.
Yeah, like a date.
Anniversaries?
Yeah, we always make an effort on an anniversary. That's true. I think it's more like, do you remember a particular date?
Oh, no. Our wedding? That's a date.
That's a very big date, yeah. What is the best life advice you have received and who said it?
Take a deep breath and step forward.
Who said that?
I'm pretty sure it's just a quote that I read online somewhere, but it stuck with me the whole way.
Nice. What's something you've always wanted to learn and how to do?
Like knitting? Is that weird?
Yes.
I want to like knit all
no, it's not weird.
No.
Because I want to learn crocheting.
Oh my God. All right, okay, moving on. What was your favourite family tradition growing up?
Tradition? Pizza night? Is that a tradition?
Secretly, Natasha would be massive if she didn't train. If you could swap out a piece of furniture in the house, what would it be?
This couch that we're on right now.
Why?
In the man cave. That couch. It's just in the way of my office.
It's not an office.
It's this.
Where I play Xbox. This is a very important piece of furniture. Last question. If you could never do one household chore again, what would it be?
Dishes.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll buy you a dishwasher. Done. Bam.
Right, good job.
I think I did great there, but Natasha, it's like a 7 out of 10.
I don't say knitting.
Yeah. What's the knit? I'll buy you some knitting. Don't worry, I'll buy you. That's the easiest Christmas present I'm ever going to buy.
I've got like a billion competition t-shirts and I want to put them into like a blanket or duvet for Effie.
Yeah, so she wants to cut the logos out and then knit them together. So if anyone's watching that's good at this, get in contact with Natasha and help her make this. She's been talking about this for about 8 years. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of t-shirts.
Okay, so Natasha, I just sent you the questions for Kevin.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to get stitched up more than she did, but whatever. Okay.
Okay, ready when you are.
Ready?
No.
Ready now?
Yeah.
Okay. What's a new hobby you've always wanted to try?
Oh, Jesus.
5 seconds.
That's
a
I don't know, like play rugby properly, like rather than just like watching it take part in rugby. Yeah.
What famous person would you want to meet and why? Rapid fire, come on.
I don't know.
TikTok.
Who's that one with the short hair? The girl.
Ruby Rose.
Huh?
Ruby Rose, because she's beautiful and hot. Yeah, there you go. Right, next.
What was your favourite date of ours?
Favourite date of ours?
Rapid fire.
First time I went to Time for Thai, the Thai food place in Edinburgh.
Okay.
That was nice when we first moved to Edinburgh.
That was yummy.
Or New Year's Eve when we moved up here and realised we were going to live here.
Okay. Which game show do you think you could win?
Catchphrase. Next question.
We had a quiz actually on the weekend and he was really bad at the catchphrase.
I'd still beat Natasha, just saying. Right,
no, I got two. What celebrity should cast as you if your life was put into a movie?
Oh, Jesus. Who's the guy that plays Thor?
Chris Hemsworth, is it?
Yeah, we look very similar, so I would probably choose them.
How many days could you go without a phone?
Phone, zero. Next question.
Like 0 hours. How many telephone numbers do you actually have memorized?
Well, my uncle that passed away and my parents, that's it.
He's actually got quite a good photographic memory, actually.
Yeah, but with words, not numbers. Numbers confuse me in every way. So yeah.
What is a consistent compliment you've received throughout your life?
I've got a nice voice. People like my accent. I hate it, but yeah, people like my accent. I don't know why.
Name a person you'd have a lot of respect for and why.
A lot of respect for and why? Probably you.
Oh, I didn't even ask him to say that.
I didn't know the question was coming. Probably you have to put up with me on a regular basis.
Oh, fair.
If you can put up with me for X amount of years, you've done a very good job. So yeah.
And last one, what is the favourite charity you love and why?
Favourite charity. So currently we're working with Sick Kids. It's a local kids charity in Edinburgh. It's a local hospital, and it's an investment in Effie's future because she's a wild child, and the likelihood is she's going to be having many visits there. Unfortunately, touch wood, nothing too bad. But we've also got a friend there that works in like the intensive care unit for children. And yeah, if you look on our Facebook page, sorry, this is a really shameless plug. Effie is currently doing burpees to raise money for them. So that's probably one, and the other one would be the motor neurons disease, MND, in Scotland, who we lost a friend of ours, Paul Smith, and a great fighter in the UK called Daz Ellis, through motor neurons disease. So if we were going to carry on, which we are, raising money, they're the two charities that would be our primary focus.
There was a comment earlier on from B. Me Loinson. Just a comment on Kevin's coaching style. Such a personable coach, an important trait in a coach. Having came from Taekwondo autocratic coaching background, it was a breath of fresh air, training in a relaxed, friendly, and encouraging atmosphere at Wolfpack.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest feedback we get, not for my side of coaching, but with the guys who are coming from like traditional arts, when they're coming from Taekwondo and stuff like that. I think you'll get it from most good kickboxing clubs, is the difference in coaching style. Because we can, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if I coached the way I did in Taekwondo, I'd be kicked out of the venue within 15 minutes. But I also love working with these guys who come from traditional like backgrounds, because their foundation is usually perfect. So all you're doing is changing the style to win. But they understand the foundation work is brilliant.
I have one last question for you, both of you, then we will end it off. I wanted to ask, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
10. Old.
Yeah,
10. 10 years, I'd imagine we'd have more children.
One child.
Yeah, it's a constant debate with Joel and myself. I want 7, but
She won't even agree to 3.
I have 2 hands.
So he says 3, but I always talk about 7.
7.
I like the fact Joel. See, me and Joel got the same number.
Also because Joel's family, they have twins, so I'm trying to see whether would I have that privilege to have twins as well. Then it will save time, you know.
Love it.
One time.
That's you being organised. That's you being super efficient again. Yeah, kids. A couple more. So we've just opened up a new location for Wolfpack, a beautiful gym in Livingston, which you guys would have seen the background of when we've been doing Zoom. I'd love to get. Hopefully, we'll get our hands stuck into that a little bit more once lockdown approaches, and we have 3 or 4 more expansion ideas. So I'd like to think in 10 years that we will kind of have a real good foothold of Scotland, and who knows? Like, I'm not sure beyond kickboxing.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? Like, oh my child, make sure Wolfpack's still at the top of all the.
I'm sure we're still winning at the same level.
Leagues.
Yeah, consistency.
For Natasha, do you think that you would retire within that next 10 years from professional, like, as in competing professionally?
I think I'd probably retire from kickboxing. Yeah, I think I've already done it 21 years. I feel like 10 would be a push, and I think especially after a second child, I think it would be. I'd get my body back, obviously, and get into condition. But I think with all like the youngsters and stuff coming up, I think on the women's side, it's a little bit of a younger girl sport. So I think after a second child, I'd probably stop the kickboxing. But I'm loving the CrossFit and stuff at the minute, so I would to sort of kind of jumping into a bit of a competition for that, I think would be quite cool. But yeah, I think after a second child, it would be a little bit too hard to handle 2 children at a competition and coaching.
Plus, if you think about it, if she's done 20 odd years now and does 10 more, that's 30. Yes. On the off chance that our daughter might compete, she probably will. That means we're probably the best part of 50 years of our life in a sports hall. So any rest in between there, it's going to happen anyway. I don't know even why I've started that, but like, yeah, it's me living in hope that we might find a sport that involves outdoors or less smelly halls around the world, but who knows.
Okay, so the final one before we end off is what is the one piece of advice you would give to aspiring kickboxers out there? One piece of advice, just one sentence.
Oh. I'd say pick a goal and stick to it, no matter what. Yeah, it might take years to do it, or it might take a couple of months, but just always have that goal in mind and just don't waver on it whatsoever. If it's something you want, get it.
Mine would be simply be consistent. Be consistent. So whatever, be it in training or in competition, be consistent.
Oh, that's really short, that sentence.
I thought I'd leave it on a bombshell, you know. I've spoken quite a lot, so I've just released it.
Singer. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much to both of you, Kevin and Natasha, for taking time out on a Sunday morning. It's raining heavily on my side now, so I think it's just sunny on your side.
It's not great though. It looks like we'll be joining you with that very soon. So.
But thank you so much for taking time out to spend this. I mean, my side is the afternoon, so thanks so much for taking time out to spend it with us. I really hope that eventually we will get to see you in person. I mean, in flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have never been to UK before, so I think that will be quite cool to go and visit.
Anytime you want. Edinburgh is a beautiful city. Yeah. Anytime you guys are around the UK, let us know. We'll catch up with you guys for sure.
Bring a jumper though, because it's really
Bring
cold.
a jumper.
I love the cold, but Joel doesn't really like it.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You've got to bring Joel.
Bring an extra jumper.
You still need to bring Joel. bring 2 jumpers for Joel. I'll have a Wolfpack jumper ready for him. It's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right. So thanks so much again for joining us today. We would stay in touch and have a great Sunday ahead. And thanks so much. Really, really appreciate your time.
No worries. Enjoy your evening. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.